So a couple nights ago on Fishtank Live, people ended up grabbing some boxing gloves and they messed around a little bit doing some sparring in the living room. And we're gonna take a look at this stuff right now. So as I understand it, nobody in these videos has ever done any kind of boxing in their life, and that's fine because we're not here for elite level athleticism or expert technique or anything like that. We're here to just have a little bit of fun and see what we can pick out. Before we get to it, I want to say that this is not the first video that I've done on Fishtank Live, and if you want to check it out for yourself, you can find it on its website, fishtank.live. Before I get to the first one, I want to say that these are very fast-paced and I'm going to be trying to keep up as best I can, but they didn't really go for that long, so you're going to have to excuse me if I miss a couple of things that seem very apparent. I'm trying my best here. So with that said, let's go ahead and check these out now. Alright, so here we go. Letty goes in right away, and they're both hand fighting a little bit, which is not the worst thing in the world. It's just that they don't necessarily know how to use it. You don't want to hand fight like that in the pocket because it leaves your head open. And in addition to that, they're both keeping their hands very, very low. It seems as though they're trying to focus on the body, which is understandable. They don't have mouth guards in, and I don't think they want to take the chance of hurting each other. Now, Letty is completely square. She's not really keeping a stance very well. As opposed to Vance, who is bladed, but he's too bladed. He needs to kind of square up just a little bit more. So right now, as I said, they're keeping their hands low and they're mostly hand fighting. And that's kind of what happens with a lot of people when they don't fight, or they've at least never been in a fight before where they've actually had to really hit somebody, is they kind of almost play. It's like they're playing fighting, which I am aware that this is kind of what they're doing now. They're just having a little bit of fun with it. But when there's somebody who's not really that experienced with having to fight somebody, you tend to see them do certain things like trying to grab at somebody's throat or trying to grab a shirt, or as I was saying, they try to hand fight. And that's how a lot of people get messed up, is because one person is sitting here thinking, oh, I'll just grab him by the shirt and I'm sure that'll stop the violence. And the guy who's getting his shirt grabbed is thinking, I'll knock this dude out. I'll punch him right in the head. So basically the person who's play fighting just ends up getting walloped because the other guy didn't come to play. But that was the end of round one. I guess they ended up doing another one. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to take a look at that right now. All right, so here we go. Again, Letty just sort of tries to walk into the pocket. And the thing is, like, as the smaller person, she does have to get in. She has to get in close. But the way that she's doing it right now, she's basically just hand fighting and trying to hit him in the stomach. She needs to get closer, and she really needs to try and dig the body shot. And again, I know they're not going that hard. Now, what Vance needs to do is he needs to use his length. He needs to use his jab. He needs to use his cross. He could even just push her away like he actually just did a second ago. Vance needs to keep her out of her range, because if she's out of her range, then that means he's not going to get hit. So that's the end of round two. Look, I don't like to say bad things about people. I like to try to be encouraging, because at the end of the day, I know when somebody feels discouraged, they're just going to stop. Boxing, MMA, combat sports in general are one of those things where if somebody tries it and they're not as good at it as they want to be right away, they tend to just kind of give up and not go back. And I don't want to ever be in a situation where I cause those feelings in somebody. Now, am I saying they looked great? No, I'm not. But this is the first time that they've ever done something like this. So of course they're not going to look great. This is probably the first time Violetta has ever had to throw a punch at somebody. Really, the thing that I'm hoping for is that they just like this enough as to where when they get out of the fish tank, maybe they'll join a gym and actually give it a real try. All right, so up next is Vance versus Dontarius, and Dontarius is one of the freeloaders that came in with Alex Stein. Let's go ahead and take a look at this. All right, so it seems as though they started in the middle of a round here. Right away, Dontarius is moving in circles, and he's trying to use his reach advantage. And that's actually really good. Dontarius seems to have some pretty decent instincts here. Now, Vance is just sort of chasing him around in a circle. What Vance has to do is move laterally to try and cut off the ring, or, you know, the makeshift ring, I guess. They're both just kind of throwing straight punches. Oh, Dontarius got trapped, and he ended up getting sat down in a chair, which is interesting. And that's kind of what I was saying that Vance had to do. I'm not saying that he did it on purpose. I think it was an accident, but he had to try and catch Dontarius against what would be the ropes or what would be a corner or anything like that. And if he was able to do that, then he would have been able to make Dontarius pay for it like he did a second ago. So that didn't go on for very long, and that's fine because we actually got to see some interesting things there. I'm actually surprised that Dontarius had those instincts that he ended up having. But with that one out of the way, we're going to go ahead and we're going to take a look at Josie versus Letty. And this is one that I'm actually very excited for because I feel like this is probably going to be a good one. Let's go ahead and take a look at it now. All right, so they touch gloves, and I think we're waiting for them to start. Yep. All right, and they're right off. So they're both crowding each other. They're both trying to get on the inside, and Josie is definitely getting the best of the exchanges right now. She's even going up to the head. Letty is hand fighting a little bit too much, and this is what I was talking about earlier. Now, Letty is throwing punches, don't get me wrong, but she's a little bit too focused on trying to tie up the hands, and it's just not working for her. And because of that, she's getting walloped. She's getting hit. She doesn't quite know what to do about it either, but she is kind of returning a little bit, which is good. And there we go. So that was interesting, and it actually proves what I was saying earlier, that if you're not in there with bad intentions, if you're not in there trying to just hit the person, if you have your attention divided in any way, you're going to end up getting walloped by somebody whose attention is 110% devoted to trying to hit you in the head. So again, that one was not very long, but that's okay because we got to see some interesting things there. I'm actually very impressed with Josie, and I think she actually really enjoys this. And if there's one person that I want to see do this outside of the tank, it's going to be Josie, because I can tell she really has fun with boxing and potentially even kickboxing, because I heard that she actually wanted to work kicks in. When it comes to combat sports, people tend to either really, really like them or really, really not like them, and Josie seems to really, really like them. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to move on to the last one that I have, which is Josie versus Vance. All right, so right away, one thing I'm seeing is that Josie's hands are up higher than most people's were this whole time. They're not as high as they should be, definitely, but they're higher than Vance's right now. I'll say that. That's really good. Vance switching stances, and he's using his jab to try and keep Josie busy, which is really good. Josie is moving in, though. She's trying to make sure that she's in range to actually be able to hit, which is nice. They're both sort of keeping a stance in a way that I didn't really expect. I will say that too. So that was the end of the first round, and I have to say that I'm not disappointed by anything that I'm seeing right now. I am happy with what I'm seeing, and we're going to go ahead and take a look at the second round to see if there's anything else that we want to point out. All right, so Josie threw a jab and then she threw a cross to the body. That was interesting. That's actually a way to work in and work the body, is go jab and then cross to the body. That's funny to see that. I don't know if she knew what she was doing. Now, Vance is a little bit defensive right now. What he needs to do is he needs to use that jab that I was talking about earlier. Josie is working her way in. She's working the body. She's working the head. I really like the level changing on Josie. It looked really good. A lot of people, they just want to headhunt. Either that or they want to go to the body because they're a little bit afraid to go to the head because they don't want to end up hurting anybody. Josie doesn't seem to really care. She goes to the body, and then when she sees Vance's hands go down, she ends up going to the head. Josie's instincts are probably the best out of anybody in that room. I got to be honest with you. Just the way that she tries to use her distance, the way that she works in, and the way that she tries to create openings. I'm actually really happy, and I hope, if I'm able to, I get a little bit of time with Josie to hold pads and to really just show her as much as I can. There's not that much time left in Fishtank, but if I can make it so that she leaves here with something that she can bring home, then I'm 110% for that. So you may have noticed that it ended up stopping about halfway through the round. These were just the best recordings that I could find, and I didn't really have the time or the energy to try and find the recordings myself, so I apologize for that. If I had to say anything to everybody after seeing all of this, I would say keep going. Keep on trying. When you get out of here, join a gym and just work. And you don't have to fight. You don't have to be like me. You don't have to be going 4, 5, 6 times a week. You don't have to live and breathe this. Just have a little bit of fun with it. Have it be something that you do to get out of the house and get a little bit of socialization in. Have it be something that you do to try and improve yourself in some way, shape, or form. Really, at the end of the day, that's what this is all about. Whether you want to lose weight, whether you want to learn how to fight, whether you just want something to do, you're doing it because in doing these things, you're going to reach a goal that's going to make you a better person. So those are all the videos that people were able to track down and send to me, and I want to say thank you to those people. I'll try and make sure that I mention you in the video somehow, some way. If I missed any videos that you want me to take a look at, send them my way on Twitter or Instagram, and if I feel like there's something to react to, I'll definitely do a video on it. But that's all I have for you today. If you like this video, leave a like and also sub for more. If you have any thoughts, definitely comment them down below. And if you have any questions for me, feel free to hit me up on Instagram @ScottSullivanMMA. Other than that, thank you very much for watching, and until next time, good luck out there.